Before we continue, are there any questions? It's the last chance. Yes.
I would wonder if perhaps this section, Christmas as the end of sacrifice, could also be Christmas as the end of relationship.
Is that a hope or is that a fear?
I'm not sure. The chapel at Stanford University, there's an inscription, "The world is new to every soul when Christ has entered into it." And when silence enters the heart and fills the world, then there is no despair, there is no sacrifice, there is no deprivation. And since those things are pretty much the basis of almost any relationship that happens in this world, then there becomes very little purpose. Now, holy relationship is a matter of what exists between me and another person at any given moment. I don't think we're talking about necessarily anything long-term as a holy relationship. But my question is, in the absence of the basis for most intimate and romantic relationship in this world, then what takes place, if anything?
You're basically saying, I think, that if there's not guilt and deprivation and sacrifice in a relationship, then there can't be a relationship. Basically, I think you're saying that. I don't want to put words into your mouth, but that sounds like what you're saying. Right?
Not much need.
Not much need. That's true. But that doesn't necessarily mean, you are correct, just let me say first, that a holy relationship is basically a state of mind. However, that doesn't mean that you can't have two people who are in a relationship, whether it's a parent-child, a child-parent, a spouse, lover, friends, that can remain in relationship, and yet it could still be holy in the sense that there's not this kind of bargaining and trading off of needs. There could really be a sharing. Now that in this world it's unlikely that would be the case all the time, although the ideal would be that. But one of the things I emphasize when I talk about special and holy relationships is that the holy relationship is a process, that it's not an entity in and of itself. It's a process of shifting the purpose of the relationship from the ego's one of guilt to the Holy Spirit's one of forgiveness and joining. And it's a process. And I think that when you have a relationship, and again, relationship really is not truly between two people. It's really in the mind of any one person. That as one learns to let go of sacrifice and lets go of the need for specialness and the whole idea of bargaining, that one can be with another person and it's just easy. It's peaceful. Now, some people might say that's boring, but it would be easy. It would be a relationship in which there's no friction. I think that that's possible, and I don't think that this means it's the end of relationships. It means it's the end of the ego's form. But again, in this world, it's not one or the other. It's a gradation. In reality, it's always one or the other. But in our experience in this world, forgiveness is a process. And moving from the ego to the Holy Spirit is a process. And moving from a special relationship to a holy relationship is a process. Indeed, the process is the holy relationship. So I don't think that it just disappears. I think it does change it. And I think it is still nonetheless possible that when that process is occurring, that the two people still remain together in form, whatever the nature of that form is. But the form of it now is relatively free from all the tension and the friction that usually characterizes most relationships, the highs and the lows, and that the relationship would be more even, which again is why I said some people would say it's boring. But I think it really becomes one where the focus is less on the external and more on the internal, and more of an awareness of the unity that is there, not in form but in thought, that keeps the relationship on an even keel. So I think that would be the goal, and I think that that's what can happen. I think it takes hard work. But it only works to the extent that the person is really intent on shifting the focus from the external to the internal. So that you see the relationship as really being, when the moments are difficult, as really an opportunity to kind of get in touch with some darkness in oneself. Which doesn't mean you have to stay in a relationship for that reason, but that you would see that's what that's about. It's not about this other person's bad, or the other person is awful or mean, or the other person is wonderful. It simply means that I'm in this relationship with this person because I'm in a body, but that the whole purpose has changed, so that the whole focus has shifted from the external, that I want something from the other person, to the internal, which is the process that I'm seeing within myself of gradually letting go of my ego more and more. So how's that sound? That sound all right?